This video will talk about the capacity %max field under a user profile, specifically the resource info tab. The capacity %max is an informational percent. It is a threshold that generates an overallocation alert when exceeded that percent. This value will not directly affect any resource allocation reports beyond sending that alert. The alert, which you'll see in a moment, occurs in the scheduling interface and also sends an email notification when exceeded. You'll note that if I put a percent in my profile here, that is the percent that takes precedent in Project Insight's calculations. If I do not have a percent in my profile, then Project Insight's going to look in my resource allocation configuration add-on, and if I have this box checked, which presents an alert message when a PM edits or adds a task that overallocates a resource, then you can also configure that to be who overrides those allocation alerts. Project Insight is going to look at my default within my profile if I don't have that entered in my profile. It's going to look in this add-on to see if that if there is a default in here. So since I do have my 100% in here, then Project Insight will take a look at this percent rather than the default percent in that allocation add-on. Now you'll note, in this report example, Project Insight's overallocation looks at capacity, not target utilization or even percent allocation. So when we're talking about the capacity %max, that, as you can see, can be a different percentage than my capacity percent. Project Insight does this so that you, as the project manager or admin and PI, can let the project managers know that maybe you want this user to be considered over-allocated, but have a little bit of wiggle room of 5% before they're actually maxed out on the report. Now we see most users end up matching those if they do want that allocation alert to go out. Now we can take a look at what this looks like in a report, or sorry, in a project when a resource is actually over-allocated. In my Bakery and Bistro project, I'm going to add a user that in this instance has a capacity %max matching its capacity percent of 50%. So I'm going to go ahead and put in that resource. As you can see, the task could not be saved due to the following scheduling errors. He's been over-allocated. I, as a project manager, can either hit OK and choose someone else, or I can choose to override those allocation conflicts and assign the person that task anyway. That is because in my resource allocation configuration, I've given that permission to project managers or schedulers to override that allocation. Going back to my profile, for more information about the capacity percent specifically and how that affects resource allocation reports, or utilization percent and percent allocation, please refer to our other videos and documentation.